Yo, what's going on, guys? So I've been pretty consistent with YouTube for a while now, but most of my videos have been like rants or motivational type of videos. Just things that come to my head and I kind of just rant on it. So I've been wanting to implement a video like this, what you're about to see. It's going to be something that's more educational, more actionable advice, and it's going to be something where you're going to watch this video and you're going to be able to implement it into your own life, into your own fitness journey. Now, this video specifically will show you exactly how to self-diagnose to find the gap that's really stopping you from getting the result that you really want to get. Because the reality is there's nothing that's really holding you back from achieving what you want to achieve besides you. There is nothing that's outside of your control. The current situation that you're in is a result of what you have been doing up to this point. So if you want to find out what's really holding you back from getting the physique result that you're aiming for, just stick with me till the end. So if you're watching this video, you're probably not happy with the results that you've been getting in the past 6 months, whether you've been training or you haven't been. But this video is mainly for those who have been locked in and aren't getting where they want to be at. Even if you've gotten a simple transformation and you haven't gotten the result that you were aspiring to get 6 months ago, this video is for you. If you've been, thinking you're doing everything right and you're not where you need to be, what you're doing is obviously not working, and it's the reason why your cycle keeps repeating every year. Now is the time to confront it. So by the end of this video, you will stop being emotionally attached to hope without changing, because I see that all the time. People are like, they're hitting the gym, they're following a system that's not actually a system, and they hope for the best. And that just doesn't guarantee results. You're just leaving it up to chance. There is no reason for you to leave your results up to chance if you're putting in the work in the gym anyways, if you're working hard anyways, if you're taking the action anyways. There's no reason to leave the results up to chance. And, there's people that have the logic of like, okay, I'm doing something, so it's better than nothing. Sure, I agree with you. But I have seen way too many people in my local gym that, that I've been in my local gym for like 4 or 5 years now. And I still see people that are like, the NPCs or whatever, people I know, even friends. I see way too many people who are, in these gyms. They have a goal. Like every time I have a conversation with them, they actually have a goal to like, get lean or put on some muscle. And in all honesty, a lot of them look the exact fucking same. They have not made a transformation. So if you're one of those people, this video is for you. And by the end of the video, not only are you going to stop being emotionally attached to hope without changing, the goal is to also start guaranteeing a physique transformation in the next 90 to 180 days. And this is how you self-diagnose to find the gap that's in your system. So first things first, you got to stop asking yourself, why does my body look like this? Or wondering what you look like. You got to start asking, what variables do I need to control to get the body that I want? This is all mathematical. You got to leave your emotions aside and actually see if you're actually doing everything that I'm about to mention. So, if in the past 6 months, if you're looking the exact same, gaining fat on the bulk, like too much fat than what you prefer, if you're losing weight, you might celebrate on the scale side of things, but you still look soft and you're heading towards like a skinny fat look. If you're not growing enough muscle, or if you're not growing a certain muscle group, this video is for you. If any of these apply to you, you got to ask yourself these questions. And every no to these are going to be like yes or no questions. Every no, or if you're unsure about a question, that is your gap, and you have to start taking care of it. So let's get started. So I grouped all the question into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can't count. Into 5 different categories: calorie control, gym progression, gym intensity, recovery, and consistency. Now, the reason I grouped the questions into categories is so that you're able to identify which exact area you're really slacking in. So, starting off with calorie control. So the first question is, do you track your calories daily? If you're not sure how many calories you need to be getting in the day, you're just drifting through the ocean, you don't have a direction to head to. If your goal is losing fat, you're not sure if You're losing fat because what it takes to lose fat is to actually be on a slight deficit. You need to be on a deficit. If you need to build muscle, if you're trying to put on weight, you need to be on a surplus of calories. If that's a no, or if you're unsure, you're just drifting through the ocean. You don't have a direction. Your body's confused. Your body doesn't know. Like, you may have the intention to lose fat or build muscle, but your body doesn't know that because you're not aware of your calories. Now, question number 2 is: do you hit protein daily? Do you hit your protein intake daily? If you're not sure, once again, protein maintains or builds muscle. So in the process, when you hit the gym, when you train, without protein, it's going to be impossible to maintain or build the muscle. Even if you work out hard, protein is what builds muscle. Are you consistently reaching a steps or cardio goal? This is another factor that manipulates your calorie intake, and not only that, it helps boost your metabolism and your insulin sensitivity. So how your body absorbs carbs and uses it in your body, the way you move throughout your day affects that. It affects if your body decides to use carbs for energy or get stored as fat. And obviously the calories play a huge role, but how your body uses the calories matters a lot, and this is how you control it through cardio and a steps goal. And everybody's goal is obviously different with literally every one of these questions. These are just questions that you need to be aware of and make sure you're actually you're following the right system. You're following the right goals for those questions. And this video is not going to cover like the answer to those questions because I'm not sure specifically who I'm speaking to in this, who's watching this video. I'm not sure who I'm speaking to. Now, moving on to the next question is: do you track body weight weekly? On a weekly basis, you gotta see how your body's reacting. If you're not sure if your body's gaining or losing weight, you don't know if you're eating on maintenance, on a surplus, or on a deficit. And the main goals of a physique transformation matters a lot in whether you're on a deficit or if you're on a surplus. How you know that you are on a deficit or a surplus is by tracking your body weight. If you're on a deficit, obviously, you should be losing weight. If you're not losing weight, if it's staying the same, you're eating on maintenance. If you're getting heavier, that means you're on a surplus. So this is how you're able to test and see how your calories are affecting your body. Without calorie control, there is no direction. Now, moving on to, how do I move over? Gym progression. This is super important. In the gym, are your lifts going up weekly? You have to write it down on a piece of paper, on the notes app, whatever app you use. You need to track your workouts. How heavy are you going in? Doesn't have to be all workouts because some muscle groups are smaller and you just want to get the blood flow in. Like for me, for example, yes, the weight does go up in terms of workouts like biceps, triceps, but not too much. My form, the way I personally progress in workouts like biceps and triceps, I've been using the same weights for probably over a year now, but it's the way I hit it just progresses over time. And when I first started, I don't really focus too much on my tempo, how fast I was going. I was just doing the fucking reps and getting heavier over time. Get to the point where I was able to curl 50s, but not really great form. Now I could curl 45s with good form for a couple reps. So that's just a good way to progress. Now, in terms of compound movements, you should always be progressing and actually tracking those movements. Yes, one day you will hit a plateau, but you'd have to be fucking strongman level to hit a plateau. You know what I'm saying? You have to set a fucking world record to be hitting a plateau in compound movements. So with compound movements bench press, lat pull downs count technically, squats, any press movements, those are or shoulder press, those are workouts where you're using multiple muscle groups to hit those workouts. So with those workouts, it's super important that you're tracking how strong you're getting. And side note, just a pro tip, start with the compound movements first in most of your workouts. So yeah, without progression in the gym, there's no reason for your body to grow the muscles. Now moving on to gym intensity. How intense you are in your workouts matters a lot. Without intensity, there is no stimulus to tell your muscles to grow and progress. So you got to ask yourself, even while following the progression, you shouldn't be going light unless you're a beginner. So the question is, are you training close to failure on most sets? Or past failure in some cases? Do you drop set? Do you actually fucking want it? You got to give your body a reason to grow. Even if that means you have to go off program, how many, sometimes with my clients, they get a certain amount of reps and sets to do. Sometimes you just got to go the extra fucking mile if you really want to get more of a stimulus for your muscles. And I'm not going to be the one to tell you to do the extra reps, but it's it should be something that you kind of do in select workouts, especially if you have a body part that's weaker than, or you don't have a good mind muscle connection in that body part. Try to do drop sets, not in every workout, but you know what I mean. Just train till failure or past failure or close to failure. You got to challenge yourself. Now, the next question is, are you resting 2 to 3 minutes after every set? The reason this question is in gym intensity, even though it's talking about rest, is because you're not able to go full potential in every set if you're not recovering between those sets. So if you're waiting 30 seconds between every set, you might think you're working hard, you might get a sweat on, but you're really not pushing your muscles to their full potential because they're fatigued from the previous set. So let's say you do squats for 10 reps and you're fucking cooked, and you only wait 30 seconds until you hit the next rep and you're adding more weight. You're not gonna be really challenging your muscles. You're just challenging your fucking nervous system. So remember, the goal in the gym is to grow muscles, it's not an endurance fucking competition. Even the cardio part, it's not an endurance competition. We're just trying to fucking bodybuild. We're not here to test our David Goggins mentality. So, yeah. This helps. This is what I mean by intensity. Intensity doesn't mean it has to be super David Goggins type of hard. It's hard in terms of full potential in doing the sets and reps and actually following the program. No intensity, no stimulus. Now, this is the third pillar of building an aesthetic physique. We talked about nutrition, we talked about training. Now, recovery is the third pillar. There's only 3 pillars of fitness. Recovery is, without recovery, even if you do everything else perfectly, it's not going to matter. You're not going to get the results that you want. So, do you sleep at least 7 to 8 hours consistently? If you're getting less than that, it'll be very hard for your body to build muscle and lose fat. So in both goals, if you're in a phase where you're trying to build muscle, your body will struggle to build muscle if you're not getting good sleep, if you're getting 5 hours of sleep. It's extremely hard. And vice versa, if you're somebody who's trying to lose weight, your body, it's going to fuck with the way your body loses fat. Do you wait 3 to 6 days between training each muscle group? Now, this depends on the muscle group and the person. I know some people that hit chest 3 times a week. I could never fucking do that. I like to wait at least 5 days for my chest to recover. But then, muscle groups like my arms, I could only wait 2 days and I'm ready to go. Same thing with my calves. For my legs, it takes 6 to 7 days for them to fully recover. Some people, they hit legs 3 times a week and they're able to do that. So you have to be aware of how fast your muscles are recovering. Big rule of thumb here is to never work out a muscle that you notice, even if it's slightly sore, do not work out that muscle. It does not make you a hard worker. Well, it does make you a hard worker, but it's not going to equal bigger muscle, which is the goal. It's what we're trying to get. If we're trying to build a lean physique, we need to build muscle. Do you cut out screen time 1 hour before bed? This is a huge habit. Out of all the habits, covering your eyes, the nose strips, the fucking, covering your mouth, that super dark room, all these things, I guess they do help with sleep. But the number one habit that, in my opinion, like helps a lot when it comes to sleep, I don't do any of the other things besides cutting out screen time 1 hour before bed, and my sleep quality has been like so perfect. I used to get consistently 7 to 8 hours of sleep for so long, but I would be on my phone before bed. I'd be like consuming something, and that just fucks with your cortisol. It makes your brain think that something is going on, because when you're consuming the content, I don't know what it is, but your mind thinks that something is going on, and it's gonna keep your body up. It's gonna fuck with your sleep. So I think that's the most important habit for like a before bed routine. And me personally, like what keeps me off my phone, because I know it's super hard, is finding another habit that to replace the habit of being on the phone with. For me, it's like reading books. I really enjoy reading books, self-help books, or just simply like listening to like an audiobook or a podcast or whatever before you sleep, kind of like a bedtime story type of thing. But it doesn't have to be a story. Like for me, again, it's self-improvements. If you're not recovering, you're not going to be able to perform the next day or in general. Now, to put everything together, the next group of questions is about consistency. Have you followed the same plan for 4 to 6 weeks? Ever, like in general. Doesn't have to be eating, doesn't have to be like the training. I'm talking about like the entire structure, if you even have a system. Have you stuck to a system perfectly for 4 to 6 weeks ever? If not, you do not know what it's like to fucking lock in. Because that's what locking in actually takes. Have you missed workouts? Like think of this week. Have you missed any workouts or targets? If you had any like goals of the week, have you missed anything this week? If I caught you lacking, then you're not consistent. And if you're not consistent, you don't have momentum to get results. So once again, if any of these questions, the answer to them is a no or an I don't know, luckily, even though it's a bad thing, luckily that is your answer, and now you know exactly what you need to fix in order to get the results that you want. Because every no or I don't know to any of these questions is the very thing that's stopping you from getting the result that you want. End of the day, man, your physique is a reflection of what you have been doing consistently and not what you're intending to do. You can have an intention to do something for the rest of your life, but if your actions don't match that, you will never get what you truly desire. So with all that being said, I have an offer for you. If you're somebody who's looking to guarantee a good aesthetic transformation in the next 90 to 180 days with accountability and a proven system that works perfectly with your lifestyle, I made a whole step-by-step guide on how to do exactly that in under 180 days. At the end of that video, I'll show you my offer, and there's a link in the description of that video. And I really hope that this video helped. Thank you so much for watching, and comment down below if there's any other topics that you want me to talk about for future YouTube videos, as now it's becoming a habit and I'm actually getting more consistent at it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.